I spent so many years trying to fix a life that just felt like it was completely falling apart, even though I felt connected. I made money, I found success, I had a family, but I was still unhappy, not content. So today I'm going to share with you the 4 principles that help me and hundreds of other blokes get their lives back on track and get back to finding that inner peace. And they're like nothing you've ever heard before. So let me introduce you to someone. So meet James. James is a good bloke, done the right thing, ticked off all the boxes society thought he should. He's got the career, got the family, he's got the lifestyle, and he's pretty healthy. But there's something else going on underneath the surface. So the truth no one sees is he's exhausted. He's got a short fuse. His body feels good, but on the inside, he can't sleep. And as far as his lifestyle is concerned, he's just plain burnt out. So James isn't broken, he's just stuck. He's running on patterns he never chose, but they're the same patterns he's been running on for years. But like most of us, he hasn't just accepted that. He's tried all the fixes. He's tried the cold showers, he's read the books, he's gone through the gym or the run challenge phase, he's tried the diet and the supplements, he's scrolled Insta for all the motivational videos and the new routines that last 4 days. But none of these have actually solved the problem. See, these all affect what we do. The work we need to do is around how to be. And you can't upgrade the man by doing. You have to upgrade the man by being. But what makes a man want to choose to learn how to be? Generally, it's the low point. It's the conversation with the wife that I'm not feeling it anymore. So what finally makes a man change? It's not motivation, unfortunately. It's a moment. It's a breaking point. And it might look like this. He snaps at his kids. His partner tells him, I just don't feel it anymore. He feels his chest tighten at work. And he has a moment in the mirror where he doesn't recognise the man looking back at him. Or worse still, he doesn't even look in the mirror. For me, it was a night at the beach where it had all turned to shit. And I recognised that this wasn't the life I'd built for me anymore. I'd lost myself. That's when James and every man realises it's not my circumstances I need to change. It's the way I think. It's the stories I tell myself. And it's the actions I take that are going to make the change. So now I want to share with you the 4 pillars that you need to master in order to change your life. See, most of us live in a world like this. There's a version of you or James or I that's now. And there's always another version that we're hoping to become. Let's call that version 2.0. And the thing about this is the way we've been programmed is, in order for me to get from here to there, I have to work out how. How do I get from here to there? See, the problem with this is that half the time, this guy doesn't know how to get there. But guess who does? This guy here. So what we need to put our time and energy into is to learning how can we create this version of us and feel like that now. We need to move from how to allow. So what does that look like? Well, we're so used to doing as men. Take action, take action, take action. And half the time we take action without any thought, without slowing down, without choosing our words or our actions wisely, without understanding what programming sits behind the decisions that we make, and without actually identifying whether they're authentic to our intentions or not. So where does change start? Well, change starts with learning how to be, not do. So how do we do this? Well, ironically, pillar number 1 of B is be. We need to learn how to meditate, how to slow down, how to give ourselves the space to be able to choose. So we do this through daily practice. We meditate. We practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is not woo-woo. Mindfulness is just being aware. Mindfulness is as simple as rubbing your thumb and your forefinger together and noticing the ridges on your fingertips and feeling the warmth as you do it. And you suddenly notice you stop thinking. When you take yourself into that state, you learn to observe. And when you learn to observe, that takes us to pillar number 2. So number 2 is think. See, we talk about the fact that we don't get what we want, we get who we are. Well, we are what we think. And a thought is purely and simply the words and the images that create reaction or response that in turn create our energy. So what we need to do is slow down and observe what are those words, what are those images, and then choose the words or the images that might support us. So we move from a state of lack, this always happens to me, to I choose the way my life happens. From moving from a state of I am not good enough to I am more than capable. Just those shifting words and doing that from a state of response is a game changer. But we need to do this through repetition. The thing about this thinking is that it comes from our programming. And whether we like it or not, we haven't chosen a lot of our programming. So that brings us to our next pillar, which is author. See, much of our thinking and the stories we believe about ourselves come from our programming. And from 2 to 7, our brain's in what we call alpha state. And ultimately, alpha state is where we're trying to get to when we talk about meditation and mindfulness. But the human brain's amazing. And from 2 to 7, our kids feel safe. So their brain's permanently in alpha state. So they just take information in. No judgment, just observation. So for those with kids, for those without kids, what's the number one question someone from 2 to 7 will ask? It's 3 letters. Starts with a W, ends in a Y. Why? Why? Why not? See, a curious mind allows us to explore whatever it is we want. So that in turn, that creates a lot of our unconscious programming. So if we happen to live in a family where money's hard to come by, money might be hard to come by. If we're in a house that lacks affection, we may find affection difficult. But that is the basic programming that we then run into life with. When we hit 7 though, our programming changes again. And suddenly we're in the big wide world on our own. And from 7 to 21, our ego takes over. We call this the apprentice. And the apprentice tries to keep us safe. It helps us navigate all that tricky stuff. And we get told what we're good at, what we're not so good at. And we take all of that on board. And this becomes our story. And by the time we're 21 or 22, without even meaning to, we start to tell people, hey, this is the way I am, without actually recognizing we had a choice. And that's where author becomes so important. We have a chance to rewrite that programming. See, the brain is an amazing thing. And you've probably heard of this concept of neuroplasticity. It means we can rewire our brain. We can choose the thoughts that we run with. And the more often we run those on a particular track, the likelihood is they're the ones that we're going to be running automatically. So you get a choice now to re-author your story. Your story's about how the world runs, what you might be overwhelmed by, how to get something done. Your story's about yourself, what you're capable of, what you're not capable of. Your story's about other people, how they show up in your life, how they trigger you. And you get to rewrite your stories about your past, about the things that are really hard for you to move on from. When we recognize we have choice, it opens up freedom. And suddenly we're not a slave to the stories we've been running with for 20, 30, 40 years. And when we recognize we can rewrite our story, given a lot of these stories are our stories in the present and our stories from the past, the next pillar we need to master is dream. If we can rewrite the stories about our past, then we can rewrite the stories about our future. See, the mind's a wonderful thing. It can't tell what's real or imagined. If you were to close your eyes right now, have a crack at this. Close your eyes right now and imagine you're biting into a lemon. Big, massive bite into a lemon right now. What did you notice? Did you taste it? Did your face move in some way, shape or form? If you want proof that the mind can't tell what's real or imagined, there it is. That presents an amazing opportunity. This is where dreaming and understanding what does it feel like to be this guy, bring that feeling into now of me saying I am capable, I've achieved it. How do I build my identity here by stepping into this guy and bringing that energy back to now? That's what dreaming is all about. So when I learn to dream here, what I do is I continue to build my identity. The power of learning how to be before you've even worried about what you need to do to get from here to here is immense. Imagine a system where you slowed down, you observed what you were thinking. And when you recognize the words or the images that didn't serve you anymore, and they're on repeat, you recognize that's a story that you're repeating. And so you lean into it, you rewrite that story, you re-author that story, as if you're this guy, not this guy. And then you take that opportunity to design your life, to choose exactly what your life looks like, and to allow your mind to feel like that, just like when you sucked the lemon a minute ago. And you know what it feels like to be this guy, and you bring that back to now. If you were to practice 15 to 20 minutes of that a day, what would the how look like? Now, the how would become a hell of a lot easier. It does become a hell of a lot easier. And that's your next step. So I can sit here and tell you that this is all you need to do, but what I'm telling you is you need to do that first. And just so you feel comfortable, we do need to master the art of do. So there is things we need to do if we want to create that life for ourselves. We need to learn to, pillar 5 is act. We need to take action. We need to be targeted in the action we take. But when we've done this, the action we take becomes far more apparent. The next thing we need to be able to do is to connect. On our hierarchy of needs, we need to connect. Men aren't great connectors. So being able to connect with other guys on this journey, being able to connect with the people we want to connect with to create the life we want becomes really important. So we need a system around that. We all love this one. This is where we mostly go. We need to look after our body. So there are things we need to do to make sure that our body's taken care of. And then finally, we need to track our progress, so we know that we're going in the right direction. But if I was to ask you, are you pretty good at this? I'm more about the answer is yes. If I asked you, what are you doing to do that? Most men I speak to don't have a system. So all this may look really complex, but this can be broken down into simple, repeatable reps. No different than going to the gym. No different to the steps you use to build your business. No different to the steps you took to achieve the win on the sporting field. Simple, repeatable actions in 15 to 20 minutes a day to learn how to be. When we increase our capacity to be, our capacity to do goes through the roof. And we start to live with some authenticity. And suddenly, James is not a slave to the man anymore. He's choosing his own life. Now, you can do this alone. Most men try to do that first. I know I did. But the truth is, without structure, without support, without someone in your corner, you fall back into the same patterns. And this isn't because you're weak. It's because you're human. It's because you're focused on what you need to do. When you have a mentor or a coach step in, someone who understands the inner workings of the beast, the shift happens quickly. You get direction, you get accountability, and you get a proven path. So this is exactly how you can get your life back on track, hopefully within 14 minutes. So that is exactly how you can get your life back on track, and quickly, and find the peace that you've been searching for. If you want help using any of these principles, I've helped hundreds of men rebuild their life from the inside out. Click through the link below, let's book a call and see how we can help.